Toronto Maple Leaf game day on the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee, Derek Brandeo, Jake the Snake Schultz with you for the fastest 2 hours in hockey. We are live on Sportsnet 590 The Fan, Sportsnet 360, Sportsnet Plus. Here we go, boys. Fork in the road.
Here we go now.
Right?
Here we go.
Fork in the road. Win it tonight.
Fork you, buddy.
Win tonight. I like that, though. That's all right. That's pretty good. Win tonight, and the narrative continues. Different team, different feel, different vibes. Lose tonight. Same vibes.
It's
12 months ago.
Nirvana or absolute hell. Just pure and utter despair and chaos.
Emotional damage.
Yeah, for 46 hours.
In about half an hour, we're going to welcome in Gary Roberts, former NHLer, knows a thing or two about the Battle of Ontario. And then top of the hour on our Tuesday, Steve Valiquette, analyst for the New York Rangers on MSG, CEO, Clear Sight Analytics. Plenty to get into around the National Hockey League. And it's been a fun ride so far. I got to tell you, boys, I really enjoy sitting back, couple of beverages, and just watching the festivities.
Are you going to ask him how a goalie lets in a goal 9 seconds into a hockey game from below the goal line?
There'll be plenty.
Start on time.
Oh, my God.
Get the game
Wake up.
started.
Oh, my
my God.
Plenty.
Blackwood. Geez.
Plenty to get into. No question about that. But in the meantime, where do you want to start, JB?
Well, I think you got to start with the feel.
At home?
Tonight, at home. Has anything changed for you? I will say I'm reading, obviously, a lot about this game tonight, taking in all the content. Came across one in the Ottawa Citizen today, that says Giroux is trying to help the Senators complete the reverse sweep in the Battle of Ontario. And one of the first sentences says, the road to historic comeback started with a 4-3 overtime victory. It's, they're looking big picture here.
Is that my buddy Bruce Garriock?
That's Bruce. Is
he searching a little bit?
I don't know. I think that's the vibe for Sens fans. This is the start.
Wow, the playoff is that Giroux did it once already,
yes,
right?
He did. Yeah.
And four other teams. Would they be the fifth? Is that?
They would be the fifth, yeah.
Fifth.
But even saying they would be the fifth is insane when they've won a game.
Yes.
We're not going into game 7.
No.
And if you'll remember that Claude Giroux Flyers team in game 7 went down 3-0 in game 7 and came back and won. So
that's nuts.
Yeah.
It's never over till it's over, as everyone knows.
You got to write about something.
You got to write about something. I'm not being critical of the topic. I'm just saying that is the tone. That is the talking point. Is this the start of the Leafs' biggest whatever?
I think that if you were, let's say the Ottawa Senators were playing against, I don't know. Let's say they were playing against the Tampa Bay Lightning and they were down 3-0 and they won game 5. Yeah. Or they were playing against the Washington Capitals, they were down 3-0, they win game 5. I don't think this conversation is even, I don't think that article is being written today.
How about new?
I think the article is
It's about game 5.
It'd be, how can they grow and learn about what they need to take into next year's playoffs and all these, all these extra games that you get to play and you learn these hard lessons. But since it's the Toronto Maple Leafs that have had a bit of problems in elimination games in this era,
okay,
it's a much easier article to write because people really, listen, I'd be lying to you if I said, I played golf today, got paired up with a couple random guys, both diehard Leaf fans. There were some conversations, boys. It's not 100% confident up 3-1.
It is really unavoidable in this town to not go there.
Yeah. And it's human. It's sports. Where people are just going on what they've seen recently, so it's fine to have the conversation. It's just, settle down.
All right, let's go to Craig Berube for the first clip on how comfortable he feels at home.
I think starts have been really good, and we're going to need a good start tonight. We need to be aggressive and do things right. We need everybody, It's, we're not relying on one or two guys. We need everybody to do their job and contribute.
I really like that message because people like myself and everyone else is all need a big game from the Stars. Matthews and Marner need to be good. They need to pull them across the finish line. And while that may be true, there should be a reminder to everyone else that, hey, Bobby McMahon, you're allowed to score still. Yeah. You can also help here.
What has happened here? Is it 13 games now without a goal, 14 games?
I don't know. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since he shot one in the net.
It's in the 15 range. Yeah. Let's just say that.
And, last game, they need a goal. They put him up with Tavares and Nylander. They instantly look like a line again. Mm-hmm. He's so in love with utilizing Holmberg and helping him, having him be like the defensive conscience on that line, that it's almost like it's a little passive. And so I did want to ask you coming on the show today, Kip, are you better off going all out and just trying to win this game, throwing a fastball right down the gut, McMahon with that line, your top line, play the heck out of those guys and try to get it across the line? Yeah. Or do you think you just you don't want to open it up against Ottawa, keep it conservative, keep it close again?
No, it's just it's the sense of urgency that you have to play within the same structure that you've had. You're not changing anything. You're just getting guys to feel the moment a little bit more. Mm-hmm. And there is another gear. I'm still watching the Leafs in all 4 games now, and I do believe that there's another level that they can get to. And I think
totally
when we watch other series, there are, whether it's LA, whether it's Edmonton, Dallas, Colorado last night, there's stretches and windows where you go, oh, wow. Ooh. Oh, no, they got it going right now. And I don't think we've really reached that yet with the Leafs. Mm-hmm. So that's what you want to see, and you can still see it and not change anything structurally at all about your systems or your mindset. Just do it faster, do it harder, do it with more intensity.
Yeah, totally. There was a Matthews quote today where he said he expects the crowd to be loud and raucous and whatever. And I tweeted, quote tweeted it from Luke Fox and just said, I'm sure they expect the same from inside the glass, loud and raucous. And let's see that pace. It doesn't have to be we are now we defend the front of our net and we just sticks in the middle and we just let them play hockey and we just pack it in. You got to go play. And we've seen one period, I think, was it when they came out and went up 2-0, or we've had one stretch in the first period where they came out and really put the boots to them. What game was it? You loved the
in that clip he talked about good starts. Yeah. In both games at home, they were brilliant to start. Okay. They went up 2-0 in the
in both
started good tonight.
Game 1 and game 2.
Right? And they went, it was I think 2 goals on 4 shots through in both those things. They really have had good starts. So to his point, he's right. And we need everybody. That's true too. Mm-hmm. We haven't seen this split of responsibilities throughout the lineup that we have ever seen in this era.
You dropped the name Bobby McMahon. This guy is so key that he can come back off of Matthew Nyes. It's not going to be Holmberg. It's not going to be Lawrence. It's going to be him who needs to follow up on that left side. I do see the speed out of him. I just see it on the outside.
Yeah.
And he dies the moment he needs to take it to the net. There is no drive to the net. There's drives on the outside, but I don't see him extending to now taking it to the net. And that's what he's very good at. Haven't seen it.
I think, Kip, he dies when he plays with guys he doesn't believe in. And I'm not saying that it's specifically those guys, but when he's on a line where he feels important, you get more out of him. And I think you're losing him at the interest of promoting Holmberg. And Holmberg has very good underlying numbers. Ooh, the numbers love him in this series.
Yeah.
But, okay, whatever. Tell Bobby McMahon we want you to play a little bit of defense, and I think you could get a lot more out of his role in the roster.
Yeah.
Now.
We talked about this all year with Bobby McMahon. Bottom 6, top 6,
great.
Thumbs up.
So give me the thumbs up version.
I agree.
Yeah. Austin Matthews didn't skate yesterday. He was on the ice today before morning skate, before the team went through their motions, went out there on the ice for a little bit. We have a clip.
Yeah, Luke Fox asked him, of course,
Luke always gets a good
he asked about how he was feeling, where he was at, and this is the answer. Austin Matthews, clip 1.
You kind of always hate the person across from you.
That's ready.
I mean, I think everybody's grinding right now. I mean, it's that point in the season where, it's hard physical hockey, and, you're always going to go through different things. So it's nothing that's abnormal. I mean, everybody's, grinding and playing hard right now. So it's not really, something that's, I don't know, it's not a big deal.
Let's here's Coach Craig Berube. I have a quote from him on Matthews as well. What do you say?
This is a fabulous clip.
What's your sense of where Austin is after a day off of rest?
Rested. He's good. He's good. Like I said, there's a lot of minutes the other night in that game. So, just a little extra rest for him.
He loved that.
He did. I liked it. He liked it.
He just
We heard that laugh at him all year.
Never. That's the best.
if he's going to pick his best game of the season or best game of the series, I should say, this is it tonight.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, best game of the season would be good too. I would accept that as well.
Yeah.
So,
the narrative about these guys in closeout games, it's, you can't deny it at this point, right? And that's why we're having this conversation in closeout games. 13 games for Nylander, Marner, and Matthews. Marner has 0 goals, 5 assists. Matthews has 4 goals, 9 points. And Nylander has 2 goals, 11 points. It's, none of them at a point per game, none of them at their usual levels. I think as much as we're saying, yes, they need everyone, reasonable to expect these guys to have a better night.
absolutely. Absolutely.
I would imagine that the one thing that Ottawa will have to do is make sure they don't go to the penalty box, because we know, once Tavares is back, that thing could bury you in a big hurry here. So I would think that the Ottawa Senators would be on their best behavior in terms of their discipline. And I can't think of a worse penalty than the Batherson high stick, 200 feet away from your goalie in overtime.
He thought he lost them the series. Like, he was sure it was over.
Yeah. 4 minutes.
I just, it blows my mind that you've been around the game since you're like 7 years old, and you can't find a way to keep your stick down and make contact.
Yeah.
It is. It must be the nerves. It must be like there's something that happens to you that you would end up hitting a guy in the face with your hockey stick in such a critical moment. It's mind-boggling.
What's
for me.
funny is, like, the Robertson high stick from a few games ago before he was out. It made contact with the Ottawa Senators player's face for so long. It was like he was slitting his throat. He like dragged it across his face.
He held it there for a while.
It was like, what is happening? Very unusual. But these are guys with not as much playoff experience. The Sens players with first career playoff goals in this series: Batherson, Gaudette, Greg, Pinto, Sanderson, Stützle, Kachuk.
Yeah.
They haven't been in the playoffs.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Travis Green. We'll get a Kyper's clipper out of the head coach of the Ottawa Senators on the growth of the Sens so far in this series.
It's not an easy question, because I think there's been a lot of it. I think comfortability playing in playoff hockey, understanding certain parts of the game, the commitment, the compete, selling out. So, you saw our team, I think step their game up in certain areas last game as far as being to do whatever it takes to win, and some of those are, sacrificing your body, and that's part of it as well. But there's a lot. 5-on-5, it was pretty obvious.
I have to say, he was pretty low-key today.
Yeah.
He talked for 2:30.
Yeah.
Didn't have a whole lot to say. Pretty short answers. Maybe he was not liking the narrative around him of a little bit of whining and talking about 5-on-5 too much and talking about the officials, so he just stopped talking a lot.
Kept her shut.
Yeah.
I think, much like Game 1 and Game 2, I think it's imperative that the Leafs do get that start, Sammy, you were talking about earlier,
Yes.
and it's either parlays into a 1 or 2-0 lead here, because although 3-1 still makes believers out of everybody that the Leafs will find a way to close this thing out, there is that feeling from the Ottawa Senators, at least coming back, is that they found a way to beat them. They found a way to beat Stolars. They found a way to shut down the power play when they needed it most. The last thing, if you're the Leafs right now, you want them to do is gain any more confidence out of the first period.
Yeah. I do think that there's the opportunity to take that belief from them and get to a point in the game where you're up 3-0. They know how good the sticks have been, how tough chances are to come by, and they just kind of go away. But I think if it's close, you're going to get, the longer it's close, the more belief you're going to get out of that Sens team, and the harder it's going to be to put them away.
All right, let's get Craig Berube's thoughts on closing out this series tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we of course we want to close it out as quickly as we can. We wanted to close it out in Game 4, but it didn't happen. We're not gonna sit here and focus on the closeout. We're gonna focus on what we need to do to close it out.
Okay. Let me think.
What's that?
No, I'm just doing the math in my head of what he just said there. He's playing we're not going to focus on closing it out. We're going to focus on what we have to do to close it out.
Yeah.
Isn't that focusing on closing it out?
The process.
But isn't that focusing on closing it out?
No.
Okay,
You're focusing on the elements of the closeout to accomplish the closeout.
Okay. Just close it out.
Yeah.
Like, really?
But it is funny as a player. It's like you can't close it out in one shift. You can just, be a good F2 on your particular shift or whatever it is, and it's chip away at it. But yeah, a couple of goals would go a long way. Power play being effective. Anthony Stolarz looking like himself again is really key to this thing.
He gets the extra day off as there's 2 days in between games. Let's go to Craig Berube on his thoughts of his number one goalie bouncing back tonight.
Well, he's solid. Like I said, he's been around a long time, veteran guy. All goalies go through losses, obviously, and things like that, like a team. And you got to turn the page and move on and just keep, focusing on what you've done well and what you do well as a goalie. And that's not going to change. He's going to go out there and do his thing like he has in the past.
Anthony Stolarz, following his own loss this season, is 8-2-0 with a 2.24 goals against average and a .921 save percentage with 1 shutout. So he's been very good after a loss.
2 goals or less.
Yeah.
Leafs win the game with 2 goals or less.
Simple as that, really.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
Right? Stolarz keeps them to 2 or less, they win.
Yeah. It's funny how basic it is at the end of the day. Have your goalie play really well. We also have him on Stolarz and Woll. Some people had asked him if he had potential for Woll. Why don't we do
in this game?
Well,
or getting him some action.
I included the question in the clip. So
one of the hallmarks of your team, your process, as it were, was to play both goalies. Like neither goalie really got too long to stretch.
Yeah.
I know the playoffs is kind of a different animal, but where are you on playing Woll or going with both goalies?
In the playoffs?
In the playoffs, yeah.
Well, I'm just focused on Stolarz right now playing. That's really where I'm at. I don't think there's any reason to change right now.
I mean, I like that it's so definitive with him.
Nobody's going to argue that. No one's going to question that. Yeah. I think.
What about a 4-3 loss tonight?
Show me the 3. Show me the 4.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see the 4. Okay. Let's see the body language. Let's see how quick he's getting up and down, post to post. All of that has to come in play. I did see it Saturday night, a little bit of a drop off in his demeanor.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I think it stemmed from a very long week of 4 games. And
4 games in 7 days.
Not only that, he also meets the media. There's such a demand for all of these star storyline guys. He's a star storyline guy for the Toronto Maple Leafs right now.
Yeah.
As much as Matthews, Marner, Tavares, Nylander, he's right up there with the demand on, can we get a soundbite? Can we see him post? We want to hear from him. All of this is still fairly new to this guy as a number 1 goalie in the National Hockey League. But hey, guess what? Won in Toronto.
Yeah.
So maybe that extra day yesterday was enough to rejuvenate him or at least recharge his batteries.
And if you have to go to Joseph Woll, you look around the league. Winnipeg's used their backup. Dallas has used their backup. Colorado has. Edmonton has. Washington has. Montreal has. Backups get in games.
Yeah.
I think at some point you'll probably see Woll, and it won't be something that's so panic worthy. But going into tonight, I feel like the extra day off is going to help him a lot. I feel like it's hard to score on this Leafs team. I feel like they've got a real opportunity here tonight. They got their full team. Should David Kampf be in for you? Is that something that?
It's a natural progression to our conversation right now on any tweaks, lineup changes. We mentioned Nick Robertson on yesterday's show. It'd be a subtle change. I don't think it would be one that would jolt the lineup in any way, shape, or form. But Kemp's another one that I really thought had a lock in the fourth line here.
Mm-hmm.
Killing penalties, face-offs, defensive responsibilities. I am kind of surprised he has not found any type of role right now with the Leafs.
You're coming off a loss, which generally keeps the mind open for coaches of doing it. And just like toggling to the last 3 years, the guys who played the most for the Leafs at forward are Nylander, Tavares, Marner, Matthews, and then Kampf, number 5. He's the guy who's been the biggest part of it here outside of those 4 guys. So it's surprising to see him in the press box at, 28, 29 years old.
So just to go back to the trade deadline, when you went and got Lawton, was the thought at the time that by the time you hit the playoffs in the first round, that Lawton and Kampf would be in your top 12 on your
3C,
depth?
4C. That was it. 3C, 4C.
That was it.
Yeah.
So essentially what happened is that you traded for Lawton, and it's as if you threw Kampf in the deal.
Well, that's a really good point.
It is.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's useless to you in the first 5 games of the season.
If he's your fourth line center, he's not. Yeah, he's out. You moved him too.
Exactly. Which it isn't perfect right now. It's not perfect. It's not what they envisioned. But to Lawton's credit, he's built himself up and he's had a presence and he's skating better. He's more involved in plays. At times he can take it to the net.
He's been great.
He's been really
good.
Probably been what you kind of envisioned, but
he's been a big part of their most responsible line outside of the Matthews line.
But you did it thinking he was higher in the lineup, so it wouldn't have cost Kampf a spot.
Yeah. Domi's such a wild card, right now, because like every 10 games he does something that you're like, thank God he was in the lineup. Like not many other guys on the team could have done that. And then when you don't get those moments, it's a lot leaner. His line in this series has not been good. Almost every night outside of he has the moment, right? He shot it in the net in a big moment. So
all right, let's get Craig Bruby's thoughts on Kampf out of the lineup.
It's always talked about, like all our extra guys, but, I've liked our game, so I don't see a reason to change it right now.
What's your sense of how he's dealing with it? He's a guy.
He's fine. I mean, it's hard for him for sure, but, he got injured at the end of the year, and, that's the situation that, the team was playing well, and I didn't want to change the lineup, and it's not a knock against him at all. It's just how things are looking and going. And that's why I've stuck with what I've stuck with. And but he's an important part of the team for sure, and he has been all year. And it's hard for those guys not to play. I get it, but they've been very good team first guys.
So Berube did change a winning lineup going into Game 3, and then he didn't change a losing lineup.
Yeah.
Going into Game 5, sorry. Like he's doing the reverse hockeyman move. Like this is like, those are both very surprising moves.
Guess what? If you lose tonight,
there's moves. There's changes.
There is, and Kampf comes in, and in all probability, Pacioretty comes out, and then you slide Lawton up, and you put Kampf on the fourth line.
It's really nuts. It is so nuts that Scott Lawton never got any run beside Tavares and Nylander. He does what Holmberg does. Holds pucks. He's defensively responsible. All the things you want from that spot with offensive upside compared to Holmberg, massive offensive upside. You could still have Kampf in the lineup, and they just never tried it.
Never tried it. Never went to it once.
Next year, if they put him there and it has success, I'm going to pull my hair out. I'm already pulling my hair out, but that one blows my mind.
Yeah, they didn't really give him much of a chance up the lineup
now,
at all.
in their defense, he stunk.
He wasn't
for the
great.
First 5 games.
Yeah, it's a chicken and the egg situation there for sure.
You like a OEL clip?
Yeah, I do.
Ruby?
Yeah, I do.
Let's have a listen on his defenseman.
Yeah, he much like during the year, he's been a very good player for us. I think like I talked before about playing the right side, playing the left side, different partners at times during the season. And, he just goes and plays. He's a very calm and cool guy out there. And it's really nice to see him get a couple goals, obviously for the team, but for himself too. He has that impact, that he can do it.
This whole feeling is what gives me hope about tonight, is that they have a real decor.
Mm-hmm.
And like the fact that Oliver Ekman-Larsson is now, and like you talked about this earlier, remember when he was playing up near 21 minutes and we were talking about how he's playing too much? He's slotted in correctly. Benoit and him are a real bottom pair.
It's funny. You were saying that from the jump.
Yes.
Like they use him too much.
And they've really dialed it back, and he's playing the bottom pair minutes, 17 around there.
He can pick his spots more.
Yes.
Way more effective.
Carlo and Riley, but they're a real pair. Tanev, McCabe, real shutdown pair. That's what gives me the most hope. It really is.
You start sucking oxygen out of a guy late in the game, or game 5, game 6, game 7. Just watch the mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're a coach and you don't monitor or follow a certain guideline on where a guy's most effective, there's a chance you can sink the series, man. And right now it seems like Berube's got her going, but the quality that Benoit has given you from like minute 14 to 19 has not
dropped.
But it's been a build-up over a fairly long period of time. It's not like you've asked a guy to step up with 6 more minutes and there's no real proof behind it. Yeah. He's built this up.
Yeah.
It's crazy. In a series where 3 of the games have gone to overtime, the average time on ice for William Nylander is 18:57. For Tavares, it's 17:29.
Yeah.
McMahon's 13:27.
Like, John's another guy. You got to be very careful with John when you overextend him, and if he's been taxed a little bit on 5-on-5, you want to keep that guy as fresh as you can, especially on those power play moments. But you can't for Berube, John can't go 20, 22 back-to-back nights.
Yeah.
But you look at both these teams' decors, they're playing all their guys, right? Like, in the overtime game, the lowest was Montempallo, and he played 15:39. Like, Clevin played 23:01. Obviously, Sanderson played over
Clevin's
30.
found money for these guys in this series. He's been really good.
You think about some of those other, like you talk about exhaustion and guys like suck and win towards the end of a game. The Leafs and Sens have really been able to play all 3 pairs at pretty much, like a normal pace, as opposed to, like, look at what the Kings were doing. They played their bottom pair 11 minutes, and one guy played 2 minutes. They're playing
look at
35.
their top pair.
That's what I mean.
Edmondson.
I know.
When was Edmondson ever a top 2 guy?
That is damning.
And now he's
for the
playing
Kings
36 minutes.
Yeah.
You want to talk about lack of oxygen to the brain?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Sanderson has averaged 27.35 per game.
All right, we got Gary Roberts after the break, but in the meantime, let's go to Max Pacioretty and talk about the hate level in the Battle of Ontario and where Gary Roberts will pick that conversation up.
Max Pacioretty.
I always hate the person across from you just as much, no matter who they are, when it's in the playoffs. So I've never, lately, and as you get older, you don't get tied up in whatever the narratives are, especially outside of the room. So if that's the case with the narrative on the outside, you're not really aware of it as much as you get older. But no matter who you're playing against, you can't have an excuse to hate someone more or less. You gotta play each night like you're willing to die on that ice.
Pacioretty should read audiobooks for a living. Just put a voice on that guy.
Willing to die on the ice. Let's go, buddy.
Willing to die on the ice.
Let's go.
Hey, this guy talks it, but he's walked it. He keeps getting hurt and keeps getting back out there.
Do you remember the hit that he took off of Jara in Montreal?
Yeah, rode him into the stanchion.
They changed the stanchions because of him.
Yeah.
Remember they curved them?
Yeah, the league said that was fine for Chara. He didn't do it on purpose, so he didn't get anything.
We want to talk about big hits.
That was rotten.
That was rotten.
He wrote his face right
But
into it.
all the best guys are rotten. Pronger was rotten too. Messier was rotten.
Yeah.
I thought
I saw a clip of Messi. Okay.
I thought after 4 games though that hatred level would have been a little higher.
In this.
To me, there's Leaf
I
fans
get
are
it,
hoping
Kip.
that
I
they
get
close this out tonight.
Yeah.
But even tonight, and by chance if Ottawa extends it, I think there's more room.
Problem is, it's too late in the series. Like, usually they do that for 2-3
Yeah, I
games,
know. And then it
it's
calms
like,
down. But it hasn't reached yet
No.
to me.
They've been tight.
don't have the
maybe,
guys.
well,
It was
maybe-
greasy in game 1 when it got out of hand, right? That's when Domi was punching Gaudette in
Yeah.
the face. The games have been 1-goal games. Like, who's going
Yeah.
to take this stupid
Yeah.
penalty to
That's
get
true.
into it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, again, lack of oxygen, man. You get guys on long
Squirrely.
shifts. They're still.
Yeah.
There might be room for someone to do something stupid still.
Hope it's the
Maybe, yeah, boy, the best chance of that happening is Ottawa wins like 5-0 or something. And it's just. Sorry, Sam.
Don't go there, JB.
Sorry.
Don't go there.
Sorry.
Okay, we'll take a quick break. Sammy,
Yeah.
we're good?
Yeah, we're good, buddy.
All right, Gary Roberts. We'll talk a little bit hatred as well when we return to Real Kyper and Bourne.
Yes, sir.
Welcome back to the program. Leaf Hour edition at Kypreos. Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee floating around somewhere. And soon Gary Roberts will join us.
Gary Roberts.
Gary Roberts.
Did you play with Gary?
Played against him.
Against him, all right.
Yeah.
You guys never got into it?
No, I don't think so. Played junior hockey against him too. He was the year he won the Memorial Cup. He was a Guelph plater.
Oh, boy. One of my
Moved to Owen
favorite
Sound. Became the Owen Sound Platers and the Owen Sound Attack.
One of my favorite Gary Roberts videos is him in an alumni game of nearly fighting
Draper.
Chris Draper.
Draper.
Yeah.
Which is just a true testament to caring and passion that I do not internally possess and
Yeah.
envy. I envy that.
Yeah. See, I think about it a different way.
Mhm.
Just stupid.
No.
Just
no.
dumb. I know these guys both personally.
Yeah.
I will tell them both to their face. You guys are idiots.
Oh,
Okay.
Well, he's listening.
You guys
now.
are-
he's got to be. He might be there.
Oh, no. Is he on already?
Oh no.
I just saw the tear in your eyes. I don't know if he's
All
there.
right, let's welcome him in. Gary Roberts.
Hi, team. How are we doing today?
You didn't catch any of my opening?
Well, I was smart enough not to fight you, Kyper. I heard that.
No. We were just
I
talking
was smart
about
enough.
the alumni game where you and I said
I
I'm
don't
friends.
remember a thing.
I'm friends with you and Drapes, and I tell you both to your face, you guys are idiots.
I envy.
Just idiots. How can you years later almost get into a fight in an old man's game?
Well, I mean, you took me to the hospital after a skate with Ty and Eric one day.
Yeah, I did. I did.
Is that real?
I did.
What happened?
Yeah, I tried to break up a fight of Big E and Ty when we were locked out. What was that, Kyper? 2004.
Yes.
Come on.
You got to hear this
And-
story.
And so they get into it on the ice, slashing each other up the ice. I think, okay, I'm going to break that up. So I get in the middle of it. And Ty tries to swing his stick at Big E and hits me right in the face, knocks me out.
Cold.
I'm on the ice.
Cold.
Come
Oh.
on.
So Kyper has to run in to the arena, into the washroom. I can remember the way he woke me up, and Kyper was putting when I came to, Kyper was putting the paper towel to my face to stop me from bleeding.
Oh my God. I wish.
So yeah, so
Imagine if there was video of that today.
But
almost fighting Draper in an alumni game seems like nothing compared to what I went through at that.
as if I was watching it in slow motion.
Yeah.
So Ty and Big E now have a couple slashes that start around the ankles.
Yeah.
And then it moves up to shin pads. Then it's up to waist. Then E hits him over the chest, Ty. And Ty comes with the over the head tomahawk.
Come on.
And goes to clunk Big E over the head. And Gary is given this one. No! And then boink, Rob's down. There's me, Joe Neuendijk, Thomas Caberlet, a couple other guys going, did that just happen?
Well, we're
Now-
glad
now-
you're with us today.
Now, hold on.
You lived
Now
till
I
the
gotta
tale.
I gotta pile them in my car, and I take him to the hospital. I call a buddy of mine who I'm like, buddy, we got no time for emergency front door, man. You got to backdoor this guy in. And I don't know, 2 hours later, stitched up. And
I walked back in. The next time we scrimmaged, I walked back in and I threw both of them the same color jersey. and I said, you two dorks can play on the same team today. Right? That's exactly what happened.
So,
but so I still remember it. So, obviously I wasn't concussed.
So Rob's first games in this Battle of Ontario, not quite Ty Domi, Eric Lindros stuff, or Darcy Tucker jumping into the bench. But what do you see all these years later against these two clubs today?
Well, I don't think I've missed a shift. As that game one, I felt that atmosphere was, for me, I missed being a Toronto Maple Leaf because of how I felt playing in the playoffs in Toronto. So obviously being at game one was really exciting. It's just, now I always say it's a different physicality now. It's winning your 50-50 battles. It's blocking shots. Both teams have played, I think, very well. Obviously, we got a couple overtime wins by the Leafs. I think it's been tighter than maybe people would have thought it was going to be. And Ottawa responded, of course, in game 4, and you got a big game 5 tonight. I mean, I got to think Toronto's thinking we got to end it tonight. We don't want to be going back to Ottawa for game 6. That's for sure.
Gary, what advice would you have for the Leafs elite players who are looking to create offense in the playoffs? It is a different style of game somewhat here, but I imagine you don't want them to suddenly become different players. You don't want Mitch Marner to live in the blue paint. What advice would you have for their best players to create?
Well, I mean, we both know, or we all know, that Ottawa's got a little more offense. Toronto's got a little more offense. I would just say for the Toronto players, you just need to be patient. You just gotta continue. You start cheating on the wrong side of the puck in big games like this, and you guys know there's not going to be tons of scoring chances either way. So you still got to, as we all say, play the right way. If you start taking risks, high risks, I would argue over the years, even back when we played for the Leafs, we were a high risk, high reward team. Toronto's been pretty disciplined. They've played pretty solid. They've played their whole lineup, which I really like to see what Toronto's done with their lineup. Even their fourth line guys are playing 10, 12 minutes. I just think it puts the team in a much better place late in games and tight games when you've used your whole bench. So, I think Craig Brumley's done a really good job. I'm obviously a fan, but the way that he's used his lineup, from the goaltending to the D, and of course the addition of Chris Tanev, you see how calm he is back there. I mean, they just, to me, look like a more solid, complete team. And I would expect that they end it tonight.
You're watching and listening to Gary Roberts, former Leaf NHLer, knows a thing or two about this time of year. As far as the experience that the Leaf players have gone through, and as disappointing as it's been, how much of an advantage is it this time around for them going into a game and against a team that still doesn't have that much experience, with maybe the likes of a Claude Giroux in the lineup? How much will that factor in maybe the first 5 or 10 minutes, Robs?
Yeah, I mean, I think Ottawa, if Ottawa gets out of the first period even, I think they're going to be pretty happy about it. Mm-hmm. The place is going to be rocking tonight. The boys are going to be coming out humming. I mean, I don't know what the score is going to be. I'm not going to get into that, but I think Ottawa's hoping they come out after the first period even, and they just try to hang in as long as they can. And we know if you let teams sit around and stick around as games goes on, the more likely, they've got a chance to win. So I think for me, Toronto's got to continue to play patient. We know they have more skill than Ottawa, and eventually, if they're patient enough, I think they'll get their opportunities, and they've got the players that can bury it.
Do you see a big difference under Berube, but also with his decor in terms of just stylistically? It feels like they spend a lot of the game, or a lot more of the game, in their own end, but it works. They're having a lot more overall success, despite maybe, I don't want to say being on their heels, but not maybe taking as many risks.
Yeah, that's what I see. I don't see the team taking as many risks.
Yeah,
and maybe they're spending more time in their own end a little bit, but they've done a great job blocking shots. I think both teams truly have done an amazing job. When we talk about toughness in the game today, Like it isn't, I know we've got the Montreal Washington thing going on, that's kind of old school with Jack Eye staring the other team down and warm up and all that stuff. But nowadays, I look at toughness. I look at guys, the guys that are blocking shots. We're talking about guys that are really shooting the puck, guys that are putting their bodies on their line. No different than Kyper maybe than when we did back then. But to me, I think that's toughness, and I think it's been. I mean, I've been really impressed with all of the playoffs games. I've tried to watch as many as I can. I'm old now, guys, so I fall asleep at 30. So the Edmonton series has been tough to keep up to, but I've really enjoyed round one. I think we've seen some of the amazing hockey. The physicality's been there. The animosity's been there that Kyper and I have talked about over the years. Yet you don't see when the regular season's on often enough. I've really enjoyed it. It's been a really good run so far by many teams, and it's been very exciting.
Robs, yes, you're right. We are old, but you are around these current players almost every day in some way, shape, or form. You've worked with them all. When you watch this time of year, Robs, can you see things that maybe the average viewer doesn't see with their body language, their energy, and maybe how it's parlayed from what they did in the off season?
Yeah, I just don't think there's any way, in the first round, maybe you get away with playing as physical and as hard as everybody is without preparing for playoffs. You prepare all season for playoffs. Why do we work out in season? Because we're preparing for playoffs. If you don't do that in the regular season, you might make it through round one, but you're not making it through round 2, 3, and 4. So, so far it's been pretty amazing to see how the energy of the game has picked up and the physicality's picked up. Let's see who can do it in round 2 and round 3, and that'll tell you who prepared to play the best.
So do you?
So,
go ahead.
Yeah.
You
go ahead.
Looking at the older guys, like a guy like Max Pacioretty, and the way these guys take care of themselves. Obviously, I think it's changed since when you guys were in the NHL, how most of the older players in the league take care of themselves. I think that's safe to say.
Not much. We had all the knowledge of what we were doing off the ice and how it could help us, I think.
Okay. And maybe it's just spread across the whole team now.
Well, yeah, I would say you have the knowledge. I say that the care of the players, guys, has improved. Players are taking it upon themselves to get treatment outside of the team. Not that the team's not aware of it, but you can't have 1 or 2 therapists take care of 20 players.
Right.
They need more than that, right? So players are taking it upon themselves to make sure that they're doing what they need to do. And players are obviously, we know there's so much information around fitness and training and players, and not to say everybody needs to be in the gym every day. I'm sure Tavares has a certain routine that he does every day. I mean, he's a pro. You watch that guy, how he's played, how he prepares to play. I mean, you can't take anything away from how he's performing. And I would say that in general, if you want to play at this pace and the speed of the game, if you're not taking care of yourself, you get left behind, right? Eventually you get left behind. There's no way you can play. You think about chasing a guy like Connor around for 15, 16 minutes in a game. If you're not doing your fitness and you're not taking care of yourself and getting your treatment and, whether you're doing vitamin IVs or whether you're doing creatine or whatever that looks like for you as far as recovery, you're not keeping up over a period or 2 periods. It just doesn't happen.
You've had a personal relationship with the Tanev brothers, training them. You can't be overly surprised of what Chris has done throughout the season with the Maple Leafs.
No, I had a conversation with him last summer, and he came to me and we had a little chat about being a Leaf, and I told him that was the best decision I ever made. So I said, being a Leaf for me, I retired. I retired in Toronto. I just don't think it would have been the same if I wasn't a Leaf at some point in my career. And when he told me he had the opportunity to sign in Toronto, I said, a guy that does what he does, guys, a guy that prepares like he does, the warrior that he is on the ice, the commitment he's made to the game, everywhere he's gone, the leader that he's become. I mean, I look at him and I'm not saying he's the only guy, but he's the glue. Like he really is. And he has been in a lot of teams. Unfortunately, the city of Toronto never saw that because he played most of his career out west. so they didn't see enough of Chris Tanev. But him and his brother, Brandon, are two of the, for me, Brandon's a different person, different player, but their work ethic and their commitment to their off-ice training and their lifestyle is second to none. And it doesn't surprise me one bit that Chris Tanev's done what he has in Toronto, and we couldn't be more happy for him.
Yeah, he's an absolute pro. I wanted to get your take on how you see now as someone with so much experience in how to be well and take care of yourself. Also, as a member of the alumni who sees a lot of people your guys' age getting older. How do you feel watching playoffs right now when you see, I guess I see Brandon Hagel take a tough shot the other night, or some of, it's a tough game out there. How do you feel about Brady Tkachuk's a good example, and where I wanted to start with is just guys playing through injury in playoffs. Are you okay with it? How does it look to you?
Yeah, obviously nowadays, it's obvious you get marked to being 100%. Years ago, Kyper, we'd be hurt and the coach would say, hey, you at 70% is better than my other option. So you're going to play. There's some injuries I think you can play with. And I think for sure a lot of players are banged up, guys. You're not playing like they are right now and not banged up.
Yeah.
I would just say that the energy that these guys are expending game in and game out, I just don't think I'm getting sidetracked. Sorry, I got someone waving over at me over here. I'm losing my train of thought. See what happens when you have kids in your house? They're all like, hey, Dad, my daughter wants my gym. Can you imagine?
Yes,
my
that's right.
like,
or she wants 10 squats out of you right now.
Dad, get out of the gym. I need the gym. But anyways, I would say we were talking about the Hagels and those guys. It's flipping. It's hard. The game is hard.
Yeah.
And the Tkachuks of the world, they're big men. The Arbor Jack guys of the world, they're big men. So, boy, if you're not big, you better be able to skate. And those guys, obviously the smaller players today, that's why they're in the league, because of their skill and how they can move.
Rob's fantastic stuff, man. Thanks for doing this. Awesome storytelling time. And we're going to have you back on again real soon, okay? And, I know.
Don't wait so long. Don't wait so long next time, Kyper.
You do the big shows
first.
first.
Give me a shot.
You do all the big shows first, like Bunkus, but and I got to beg you to come on our show. All right, pal.
You didn't have to beg me, just to call, Kyper. That'd be good. Thank you,
Gary Roberts. Everybody, enjoy
so
Game
much.
5.
Appreciate it.
That was awesome.
Thank you, guys.
He's awesome, eh?
Yeah,
really good stuff.
And I didn't even mention his kid got drafted by the Oshawa Generals. We ran
really?
out of time.
Yeah.
12th overall.
Awesome.
Wow.
And I wanted to ask him if his kid's as nuts as he is.
That was inconsiderate of you.
Yeah, I know, but it's jam-packed.
Jam-packed.
It's awesome to get drafted to the Generals. That's one of the premier franchises in the OHL.
You hate them too?
No, I love them. They're my second team. I go to 5 or 6 games a year. I like them.
All right, good.
They're in a separate conference. I enjoy going.
I can't keep track. You hate the London Knights, but you love the Oshawa Generals.
I do love the Generals, yeah. I love Oshawa.
Good to know.
Yep.
It really hasn't changed over the years from my perception of that there's guys that can play being hurt.
I didn't ask that question but yes.
And there's guys, it hasn't changed.
Mm-hmm.
Guys can play hurt. They can't play injured.
Yeah.
And there's a big difference. And
it was Tkachuk I'm thinking of, who's clearly going through.
Here's the second thing that hasn't changed in our game since the inception of hockey is that this time of year, if you aren't on 100% and you can still find a way not only to play but perform, you are a hero.
Yeah.
Okay? You get hero status. And then there's the practical side of an injury, and then there's the emotional side. And the emotional part of playing hurt overwhelms everything else.
Yeah.
That's it, man.
And you only have so many years and so many playoff runs and so many opportunities.
But you want to be remembered as being that guy.
Yeah.
That guy that shouldn't have played but did play. The Bobby Bond scoring overtime goal with a broken leg, baby. Yeah. That's what this time of year is all about.
Break your legs. Break it.
The last. Oh.
All right.
And then pay the price when you're my age years later.
And you're like, I shouldn't have done that.
Okay, we're just getting started here. We go national next. Steve Valiquette. It's Tuesday. Don't go away. All right, the Real Kyper and Bourne show goes national. We are live on Sportsnet 650 in Vancouver, Sportsnet 960 in Calgary. This hour of Real Kyper and Bourne brought to you by Bet365. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. In a couple minutes, we'll welcome in Steve Valiquette, analyst with the New York Rangers, MSG, CEO, ClearSight Analytics. Plenty to get into.
Including our jersey.
So, for those of you that don't know, and there's not many of you because you
Not this again.
Not the jersey.
You all send text messages to Sammy to change the jersey, and he did. He remembered this time.
Well, because I sent a reminder on my phone, so I don't forget it.
But the thing that you missed as we went from Leaf Edition Hour to National Hour is, okay, what jersey am I going to put up? We're like, Oilers. No, it's too small. No, I'm putting up Vancouver. I'm like, Vancouver?
Yeah.
They're not even in the playoffs.
Not in playoffs. Their coach is leaving.
Can't put up Vancouver.
We're on there.
Put on. I don't care if that thing would hang from your rear view mirror. It's going up. It's Oilers. And look, we got Oiler hat
got
too.
the chapeau.
Yeah.
Put it on your side because it can't. There you go. There you go. There we got. There we're good.
We're well represented.
We're good. Did you get any messages the other day that like Montreal fans the other day
We
had
had the Caps jersey
we had a
up?
Cap jersey up. They were sour at us.
Hey, guess what?
I said it was a bad idea when it happened.
You know who made that decision?
Sour.
Talk to me, baby.
Well, listen, to be fair, our guest
Yes.
was
Ellen
covering
May.
the Washington
Yeah,
Capitals.
That's right.
It was
One of our
tied
faves.
to our first guess.
Yes.
So the whole block was towards the Washington Capitals. Therefore, Washington Capital jersey.
Okay.
Guess what jersey you're going to see tomorrow?
Washington Capitals.
No.
Oh, Montreal Canadiens.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Do we have one?
As soon as you remind me to bring one in.
No, we have one.
Oh, do we?
But it's just a little bit bigger than the junior small that we have
We
hanging.
have our producers' mini kids jerseys. That's great. anyway, good times.
All right. LA, they're going back home.
Mm-hmm.
It's somewhere that they're very comfortable
Yep.
in winning, more so than I think any other team in the league.
I think they can't. They've blown it. They've emotionally blown the series.
Yeah, agree.
Like, how can you possibly? How many goals would you need to be leading by in the third period to feel okay?
A lot.
Yeah, like a half a dozen.
I cannot get a feel for the next 2 out of 3 games.
It's also wild because, like, Pickard's in net. Stu Skinner's been the guy. He's the guy that at the trade deadline they didn't move on from. The third straight game. Got Draisaitl scores in game 4. McDavid went right to Pickard.
Mm-hmm.
Celebrate the win. Like, they're in on this guy now.
You think they're done, LA? I felt like that after the game, but I'm starting to kind of think that it's still a defense that is suspect in Edmonton.
Yeah, well, how about the Kings? You're talking to me about the Kings and what they're doing.
I know.
So-
That's right. So I am totally on a pick 'em right now.
Yeah. The Kings are rolling out Joel Edmondson like he's prime Chris Pronger.
I've been very confident throughout at the start, even when they're down 2-0. Like, I really didn't believe that they could go down like this. And I still believe. I think the Oilers are going to maybe win 2 in a row here, win it in 6.
Jeez.
Like, because if they,
Hero Pickard.
well, I mean,
and
if
then
they
they go back to Skinner, I bet.
they win tonight, done. Like, this is the biggest must-win game for the Kings, like, in their franchise in a long, long time.
I just want to shout out my boy Jack Michaels from, when I played with the Alaska Aces back in the day.
Yeah.
He was the play-by-play guy there. He's really made a name for himself. Some great calls and some big moments.
Yeah,
he captures
high energy.
the tone.
High energy.
Listen, he's got a team that he could hit the high note on with.
Yeah, it's
right?
not like he's called it.
They are electric, and he
it certainly
matches
helps.
the moment.
It really helps that you got this roller coaster of a team
Yeah.
where they're never really out of it.
It's crazy, man. What a squad. The Oilers are some squad.
Avs in trouble?
Yes. I mean, how could they
What
not
happened?
be? The worst part, too, is Dallas is just getting stronger. Like, Rantanen broke out. Marchman got on the board. Wyatt Johnson was good. Heiskanen's practicing and looks really good.
He's not playing this series.
You don't think so?
No.
But I saw him doing cutbacks in practice.
No, he's not. Everything I hear is that he will not make it in time to close out this series.
How good did that goal feel for Rantanen?
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
nice
man.
one, too.
Great pass, fires it home. Like, just to go up 3-0 against the team that cast you off.
How good would one more win feel against a team that really started this mess for him?
And, I didn't know we were going to talk about this, but how many points does Natchez have in this series? Is he doing anything?
Did you see the clip of?
No is the answer. He has no goals and 3 assists.
Did you see the clip of McKinnon, Charlie Coyle coming back to the bench?
And that guy's a psycho talking about a chickpea pasta, whatever, and basically willed them back in that game.
Chickpea pasta will live with him until he.
It's the funniest thing in the world to yell at a teammate about the type of pasta they eat.
All right,
so gross.
It's Tuesday. Let's go to our next guest, Scuba Steve Valiquette, analyst for the New York Rangers on MSG and Clear Sight Analytics. Hey, how was your scuba trip last week?
Listen, boys, I highly recommend either, a father-son trip or take your family. It's a 5-hour online course to get open water certified and 3 days of testing in the water. Compasses going down to depths of even 130 feet. I can go down to with
no
my
chance, Valley. None.
That is
None.
so cool.
Hard pass. Oh, we froze on him.
Guys. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
You got me?
We hear
Yeah, I
you. There
think
you
we
go.
got
You're back. You're back.
It's like being on the moon is what it's like when you get down to 80 plus feet below sea level. It's insane.
It sounds cool. So you get the feeling of being claustrophobic, but also around things that want you to die. This sounds heavenly. What a relaxing trip you must have had.
No, you guys would love it. Highly recommend it.
Well, we're glad you're back on your regularly scheduled Tuesday, and I can't think of a better day right now.
We need Valley.
We need Valley, and we need, at the top of the list, Jets talk, because we've gone all season long with Hellebuyck, Mr. MVP, and who saw 2 pulls in this series out of Scott Arniel?
I don't know, boys. We've been talking Hellebuyck all year.
Start anywhere with this story.
Okay, I got to tell you, it's a black hole of information and video. I spend way too much time on Hellebuyck. I don't know why. I think there's such a fascination there because of the way that he's represented in the league and playoff performance. I think, and I said this before the series, it was a bad matchup against St. Louis for him. Winnipeg, as a whole, is defending very well. Only Toronto is defending better as far as quality of scoring chances against their goalie than the Winnipeg Jets are playing in front of Hellebuyck. So, and that's where, Sammy, just rest easy. Like, the Leafs are fine. You should see how great they're playing defensively, comparatively speaking to everybody else. We'll get to the
He
Leafs
doesn't even
later.
want to hear it.
Oh, yeah, they're totally fine. Nothing bad could happen.
You could bet your trailer park, your RAV4, put it all on it, Sammy. It's fine. All kidding aside. So, Hellebuyck, how about this one, okay? We'll start with where the pucks are going in, okay? In the upper third of the net, he's allowed 15 goals so far in the playoffs. In the upper third of the net, 11 goals. 9 shots over the glove, 8 have gone in. 10 shots over the blocker, 3 have gone in. Only 2 goals have been scored in the middle third of the net, and only 2 goals have been scored in the lower third of the net. Everything is being elevated on scoring chances. St. Louis, that's a team of operators for me. They're not getting as many scoring chances, but nobody's converting at a higher rate on their scoring chances than St. Louis. They're really making him pay. Now, I said he was second easiest chances faced. That's a fact. But last in expected goals. He's allowed 8 more goals than he should have in this series based on the quality of chances that he's faced, which is last. By situation, 9 goals are in offensive zone play. So when you're playing against the Winnipeg Jets, you don't want to play off the rush against them because you won't get anything. They were the best team in the NHL at shutting off rush chances against. St. Louis is smart, just like when they won in 2019, where they played you in the zone. I remember bringing this up on a previous show where one of their coaches told me back then that they would have a 3-on-2 that postseason and still dump it in and muscle you down low and wear you down and try and create certainly offense off of having control, but they didn't mind battling to get pucks back either. Forechecking, 50-50 wins, back check, giveaways, takeaways. Now, on the point shots, this is where they're having a lot of success. I'm sure you guys are hearing about it in your circles. Last year's playoffs, 18 screens faced, 7 goals against for Hellebuyck in the loss against Colorado. This playoff, 14 screens faced, 4 goals against off the screens, and 5 off of the broken plays. So 9 of the goals are just coming off the points. So I went to look further into what shots are coming in from the point, what are teams doing this year in the playoffs. There's always a theme to it. And it's really been the death of the slap shot. 55 slap shots only taken so far this year that have gotten through to net front, but 266 sifters, right?
Wow.
Like, compare that to our day, Kyper, where everyone was just bombs away from the point.
I know.
You know, because it was always about, we want hard and heavy shots because we don't want them to block it. And now guys are able to move laterally and slide the blue line, and everybody can do it. But that's a huge number for me, and I think that's a big factor in why St. Louis is having so much success. They've had the best net front in the postseason so far. St. Louis has. You know, and I heard this back when I was a player. It was a meeting with Lundqvist, Benoit Allaire, myself. Before every playoff, it was, guys, I just want you to understand, 65% of all goals are going to be scored off of point shots, screens, deflections, broken plays. It's how the game changes in the postseason. So we would prepare for it.
So the game changes from regular season to playoffs, but Hellebuyck's not. So what has to change moving forward?
The biggest thing that I'm seeing from looking at the video, Kyper, is that he is backing up in his crease. And now there's 2 errors you can make as a goalie trying to battle through screens. You can back up and sink into your crease and make yourself small. That's what Hellebuyck is doing. Or you can advance too much and try and get too aggressive and then get lost in the pile, not be able to recover on a rebound or a broken play. And that's Darcy Kuemper. Kemper's playing at least a foot further out at the top of his crease than he was doing at the regular season. Hellebuyck is playing a foot deeper in his crease than he was doing in the regular season. Like, it's sometimes what we do, Bourne, because you're looking at the play and you're like, I don't see it. I want to back up and give myself a little more time, and you get smaller.
I think it was the Falk goal. Do you remember that one where bounced off a Pionk? Like, if you're aggressive and tight, then even the redirect will find a piece of you and stop it. But he retreats.
Yeah, you said it. And listen, you know, I could break this down from a technical standpoint. What it looks like when you're in your stance is that you are elevated. You're standing on that old crease line, and that's only 4 feet out from your goal line. The top of the crease, the arc, is 6 feet. So that's why getting for Kuemper out an extra 2 feet is hurting him. And that's why the goals challenge call 2 happens, because he's just getting tied up in traffic so often. It's going to happen. Now, back to Hellebuyck, because of where he's playing, because he's choosing to play there, he's not able to play in a blocking mode. He's not able to use his size, Kyper. The way that you would want to play this is if the puck goes to my right, I'm still on my edges, I'm still on my skates, I just shuffle step across, and now I can front the puck and be big. Not for anything, but Stolarz' goal against on the overtime winner for Ottawa in Game 4, I thought he should have done the same thing. When Stolarz is at his best, he's on his blades, he sees it coming across the layered screen that was in front of him, and he just comes across on his edges, so he's on his feet for a split second longer, and then he's coming down with the puck. But as soon as you guys can see me on the screen here, as soon as your arm separates from your body, this can go in, the puck can hit me in the middle of the chest and find a way through my arm. It's like nothing is there to protect you. You're about as big as I am in my tracksuit right now. So for the big guys to play their game and to believe in what they're doing under the pressure of the playoffs, that's what always, to me, is the separator. Do you believe in your game enough, right?
Yeah. Did you hear Hellebuyck say that he studies goaltending more than anyone else in the world? And did that offend you?
Oh, boy, I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Oh, I am offended.
Hey, you know what I say? Be like me in high school. Study less.
Just focus on the hockey puck.
I don't know. Hey, to that point, Marty,
Yeah.
he's not spending 6 hours looking at video and
Not
data
a
before the
sniff.
Kyper and Bourne show.
I hope you're not either, by the way.
Hey, I got one more on him.
All right,
Last
okay.
one on Jets talk. Now, here's the overall high danger chances. Again, goalies in the NHL, 1 every 3. That's the average for everybody. Hellebuyck, regular season Vezina Trophy Hellebuyck, 1 goal every 4.8. Do you know where he's at right now in the series? 1 goal every 1.5.
Yikes.
It's brutal, guys. Like,
Yikes.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, Jets talk. We're done.
Okay. Big game for the Ottawa Senators to extend this series tonight in Toronto. Ullmark, they come in with Ullmark. He beats Stolarz for the first time. Is that enough for the Ottawa Senators to say, yeah, we now got the better goalie here moving forward, and we're going to gain a lot of confidence out of that? No,
not at all.
Okay, I tried, Ottawa fans. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you know what? Look, I'm not going to back off of where I started in October on Ullmark. It's the same for me. When I see this guy get scored on right now, I'm sorry. The body language that I see is, I just want it to be over. Jeez. I just want it to be over. Sammy, rest assured, he just wants it to be over, okay? He's faced 8 east to west chances in the series. 5 goals have been scored. And I think that if the Leafs can elevate their not fancy offense, you guys, it's not fancy, but it's break down Ottawa with a couple of recovered pucks in the offensive zone, maybe off the forecheck, just where everyone just loses structure for a split second, then zip it east to west. As soon as their D's skates are facing their own net, zip it east to west. And I see Ullmark right now as being vulnerable. However, I also don't think he wants to get embarrassed out there because, it's a long summer and he is and does have the ability to steal a game in this series. I thought it was going to happen in game 4, but to me, that's not a steal. I think he's got a steal in him. That's the one point of caution maybe for the Leafs. He hasn't stole a game yet, and I expected him to steal 1 and lose 4. And right now he's won 1 that he didn't even have to steal. So that just bothers me a little bit. And by the way, Kyper, I listen to the show. I was with you 100% on going with Woll in game 4. Yeah.
Come on.
Yes, and I'll tell you why.
Thank you.
BS. Boo.
No, I swear to God, Bourne, I'm serious, man. Whether it's real or imagined, you have to do things differently. It hasn't worked for... you look at the Rangers, 1 cup in 85 years. For the Leafs, of course, we're in the same conversation. Haven't won since 67. Stick to what's worked during the regular season.
Yep.
With one eye on what's important to Stolarz. I believe in Stolarz all the way. And when I'm watching game number 4, here's what I see. Slow on his recoveries. That's always the first sign of fatigue. Slow and getting up with the improper leg. If Stolarz is moving to his right, he should be getting up with his left leg. I could nail down several sequences in the game where he's getting up with his incorrect leg. Back to the overtime goal. He's late after first save to get to his post. He doesn't get all the way to his post. The puck goes to the point, and to me, he's casual out. He's not out, set your feet, set your eyes, be ready to see a play. And you could say that's a seeing eye shot. I say all day long, I expect a save there. And I know I get a save there from him when he's at his best. The harder you work before the shot, the easier the shot will be. If there's a breakdown there, he's late, he doesn't see it, he doesn't get a long enough look, he doesn't get his quiet eye, and now it's by him. But I know that when he has his rest, he's got his physicality. Those 3 pillars are success for him. He's got a great technical game. He's got great compete. And then that physicality mindset there, it has to be there for him to be successful.
How important, Valley, was the extra day off for him and the timing of the 2-day space between game 4 and game 5?
So I think it's everything because this guy with his size, what is he not 240 pounds?
6'7", 240.
Guys, I played at 220 and Allaire got me down to 213 because they thought the impact on my knees and hips was just too much. dropping down 300 times every day in practice. They had a clicker on us. Henrik and I talked about this a few weeks ago when we saw each other last, about how much we used to just like pound ourselves because we didn't get days off like the guys do now. Regardless, 240 pounds, I think the heaviest I played was 230. You can certainly feel a difference. That's a lot of weight, fellas. And, it's a big body to move around. I know, and I'm telling you, and I'm going to be watching for this tonight, if he's beating his passes, setting his feet, and his recoveries are quick, then he's at it. But if, listen, hear me out on this. Bad goals this year in the playoffs, right? Teams are not winning these games. It's almost like we're at a state in the NHL where goaltending, everybody's good, but we don't have the elite that we once did, or at least we don't have the separation.
Right.
Like we don't have Brodeur, Lundqvist, Luongo.
Valiquette.
We don't have those guys. Nobody's stealing a series, right, fellas? Like nobody's stealing a series. Now, look at the goals against in the series so far where one guy's let in a bad goal and the other guy has not. Blackwood's allowed 2 bad goals in the series. He lost both of those games. Gustafsson, he allowed 2 bad goals. Markstrom's allowed 2. He lost both of those games. Pickard, actually, which is interesting because he's allowed 2 bad goals in the 2 starts, but he won both. The only team that's outscored their problems is Edmonton out of all the teams. Vasilevsky, 2 goals, bad goals, lost both. And now a bad goal. Hear me out here because you might remember this one. Game 2 against Vasilevsky was a Nate Schmidt one-timer from above the top of the circles. You might say great shot or what have you, but guys, I'm telling you,
Far side,
everybody else, you remember the one, low blocker? Everybody's stopping that, fellas. I looked up the numbers afterwards, and it was 3,124 shots from there off that one-timer above the top of the circles, Kyper, this year. Only 33 goals were scored, 1.1% chance to score. I'm telling you, if he gives that up, I know that Bobrovsky gets a shutout at the other end in that game, but that's the difference, man.
Last night, the Seth Jones goal. It's like you said, the arm's up. It can go over here. It can go over here. Yeah. I think it was going wide, and he redirected it in the net. That's not the Vasilevsky we know. That's a complete stranger.
I know. And well, we did see it with the Leafs beating him that way too, right? And I, guys, let's go back to games played again. Who played the most games this year? Vasilevsky, Hellebuyck. These guys are, I think in today's game, it's too much. The east to west is too heavy. It's too demanding. The condensed schedule. I think the teams are going to learn next season not to play their goalies over 60 games.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy. Yeah, I think it was 63 for Vasilevsky, 62 for Hellebuyck. So
+4 nations for Hellebuyck, right, Barney?
Yeah, that's true. Hey, it's been a lot of hockey. I guess at the Oilers end of things, can Calvin Pickard be the guy for the Oilers? Can he give them enough to get through this round and maybe more?
No, and the reason why I say no is because I still believe in LA. I believe in what they're doing. Yeah. I believe in the vision. I believe in the way that they've added their offense. I believe they're so strong structurally, defensively, and have been for 4 years, but now they've got that layer of offense. I believe they still break through on him. And I don't think that Edmonton can outscore their problems forever. The biggest wild card in that series for me is Darcy Kemper. I felt like in October, November, LA insulated him well enough to get off to a really sound start where he could build his game. He took over November, December, January, February. I give him a lot of credit. He was one of the worst performing goalies in the league last year, one of the best. You saw that he was named as a Vezina finalist today. So look, I'm with you on the whole thing there. The only thing that might unravel everything for LA is Kemper. And that's what we're talking about here. It's wild because goaltending in the playoffs, the margins are so thin, fellas. If they change their game to over-challenge or they change their game to shrink in the net, everything just comes apart. And I think oftentimes they don't even know they're doing it because when you're in the heat of it, guys, you're just so stressed and trying to get lower and get your stance together and you get wide. And then pucks like this start bouncing off you. And, that puck right there is one that would typically get swallowed. So it's the end of play. Mm-hmm. So I wonder about how he's going to react. And that's the only wild card there in that series for me.
Valley, I got to ask you about the game the other night with Logan Thompson and Montembeault, where they both left, right? And I'm like, man, we're never going to see them again the rest of the playoffs. But those either the hamstrings off the bone at one end, or this other guy's got no ACL left. And Thompson is, 48 hours later, fresh as a daisy.
I don't. Okay, so you're going to walk me into something that I'm going to regret saying, but
hey, this is your union. This is your goalie union.
Hey, I have zero tolerance for a guy leaving a game and being able to play again in the next month. Okay, like I like that sensitivity chip was lost a long time ago. So I always struggle with this one. So what do you think I'm thinking at home when I see that, right, Kyper? I'm thinking, all right, is this why Cassidy and DeBoer didn't want him on Team Canada? Like, what's the deal with this guy?
Right.
I don't know him personally, but of course I'm wondering. Like, if you're leaving like that, you're done. And then he comes back to play. I'm like, okay, seriously? And by the way, when Anderson leaves that game, nothing pisses me off more than him leaving that game from that hit, okay? Do you know how bogus that hit was for me?
Really?
I've been hit 100 times harder than that. Carrier from Wilson the other night, that's a hit. That's a hit. The way that Anderson got hit, he's fine. Get up, play, and he leaves the game. And what even gets me more fired up is he was performing at the highest level of all goalies in the league this year, in the postseason this year. He's playing great. And now you're going to lay it off on Kochetkov? That's not a hit, guys. Knock it off.
Do you remember when I called it?
Arms don't go up, boys. Your arms don't go up like
nudge.
that when you get smoked. You get smoked, you curl. You kind of like crumple. The arms come up like that. I'm not buying it. I'm sorry.
I reference it as a forceful nudge.
Oh my God, that was like a maitre d' taking me to my table at the restaurant.
This is unbelievable. This is great. We've got goalie Doug McLean on today. This is awesome. I love it.
You should be on Fridays.
Yeah, right. That stuff drives me bananas. I hate that stuff. You gotta play.
One more.
Sam
You're the host.
Yeah. Let's rip on Ottinger
What do you
now.
think? Sammy doesn't think that's a good hit or what? I don't know.
I think.
It's fine. I know Freddie. Freddie disappears. That's all I know.
Blackwood versus Ottinger. Ottinger is another guy that I don't think got to 60 games this season, but was close here. Is he the key here to close this thing out for Dallas?
This is a good conversation, and I wanted to have this conversation because when you're evaluating a goalie with them playing at their best, you need to know what it looks like. And what it looks like is it looks silent and deadly in their stance. Statue silent, feet under them, quiet. The puck is arriving. They haven't moved yet. These three guys have given up the most rebounds in the postseason so far. Blackwood, Markstrom, Ottinger. And for three different reasons. They all move differently off the release. I call this setting twice. So you have your stance. And by the way, Stolarz, just switching quickly gears to Toronto, I think his stance looks terrific. Like, you remember in mid-March when he had that slippage?
Yep.
And I was like, he's way too wide. He's got to get his feet back under him. Right now, he looks great. So I feel confident in saying that he's going to come back and perform. Blackwood, he loses his net. His first stance is set. I'm watching it, and I'm saying to myself, all right, dude, just stay there. Stay there. And then he moves one more. And I'm like, oh, man, you just gave up short side. Like, no wonder, And so he's just losing the middle of his net. That's why Blackwood gives up more rebounds. Why does he give up more rebounds? Because when he loses middle of net, he's got to reach when he should be receiving. He's reaching and punching out rebounds when he should be receiving the puck. Markstrom is getting low, spread out, and really squeezing his stick to make saves. You can't try harder to be a goalie and make saves. But if you do, you get wide and you have those arm holes, and that's why he's given up more pucks through his body than anybody else since the Four Nations. But he's still pressing, and he's not playing terribly, and he's certainly not sinking the Devils, but he's giving up a lot of rebounds, and pucks are still going through him, and he's going to have difficulty on point shots because he's getting low and spread out. He's still not playing at the level that he was at his best last year or in Vancouver. Ottinger, this is interesting, and it's nice that we're on camera because you can see my hands here.
Yeah.
And let's just say these are his feet. These are his skates in the ice before the shot.
Mm-hmm.
Before the shot's taken, take a look at the camera from behind the net, especially after goals. They use that camera, the Fletch, I believe they call it. Now, as soon as that shot's about to come off the stick, he goes like this. And then he's stuck. He's 100 committed to going down. If that shot comes to the net, he's spread out and wide, and it's going to spill off of him. If the puck is passed, he has to butterfly slide. He can't arrive on his feet because he's so inside edge, strong, heavy, and sold on shot. That's why that series, it was never one where I was going to say Blackwood's going to steal it or Ottinger's going to steal it. I had question marks about both guys, and I still do. And, if there's a reason why I say at the top of the show here, it's not like it used to be. Everybody's good. Everybody's solid. There's some top guys, but it's not the separation that we once saw in net, I'd say 10 years ago, before a lot of the top guys retired.
Buddy, that deep dive water pressure took you to another level.
That was playoff performance today, Valley.
I'm telling
Well,
you.
hey, it's been a couple of weeks since I've been on TV. I even had butterflies before I saw
You nailed it. You nailed it.
Awesome stuff,
boys.
Valley.
Be good, boys.
All right.
Steve is over and out.
Oh, no, we're just
Thanks,
getting
pal.
started, baby. We're in the first round. All good. That is Steve Valiquette, CEO, ClearSight Analytics. He was like Doug McLean on fire today.
Three Emmys behind him, not by chance.
Gotta
Not
tell you,
accidents.
those Jets talk, those numbers were the upstairs numbers. I forget exactly what they were, but like
Canada took a bit of a beating.
Was
That
it-
segment, if you noticed, Ullmark took a lick.
was it 8
Pickard took
shots
one.
or 9 shots, 8 goals upstairs?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
You're 6'8" in there. He's
Yeah.
huge. Stand up a bit. God, that was good stuff. Game
Little
time?
game time,
All right,
baby.
let's do it. It's game time, presented by Bet365. Visit the app, latest odds, and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. So, just looking at a couple of the series here, I thought it was very interesting, if I'm just quickly pulling up, to see who the favorite here in the Edmonton Oilers and LA Kings series is. Because I think obviously the Kings would have been heavy favorites going into game 3. Going into game 4, they would have been favorites in the series. Bet365 is just as confused as you. It is minus 110 on both sides. They're like, we
Pick 'em. Total pick 'em.
we have no
Wow.
idea.
Yeah, I agree with him.
Oilers started the year as cup faves, I feel like.
And so it's just, you look at that number, and going into game 3 or game 4, you wouldn't have had that. The other one that's tied 2-2 is the Minnesota Wild and the Vegas Golden Knights. And as you would imagine, the Vegas Golden Knights going into game 5 in this series, for the rest of the series, they are minus 260 to win the series.
Vegas is?
Yes.
Boy, Minnesota got healthy, and that Eriksson Ek is good. Kaprizov's humming. Boldy's
God,
good.
They should have won that game.
Yeah.
They should have won that game. That
Should've
one
won game
kind of
4.
slipped away from them.
Yeah.
And it's almost like Tampa Bay, where it just slipped.
You almost had one instead of 2-2.
And you don't know if
Going
it's going
back
to
to
make it
Vegas.
pay or not.
I think that number is probably correct. And just looking at the other series that's tied 2-2, gets underway tomorrow. So it's not that big a deal for today. But the Winnipeg Jets and St. Louis Blues, the St. Louis Blues are plus 150 to win that series now. And the Winnipeg Jets are minus 180. So
I still believe in the Jets.
okay.
Jets talk.
Jets talk. Love
Real
that.
talk.
I mean, they got to win this series. They
Buddy-
got to win this series.
I think they'll have Velarde back next game, and that'll help quite a bit. And I do think Hellebuyck's going to
And just
have a game.
there's 3 Canadian teams, but the 2 Canadian matchups tonight. The LA Kings are favorites on home ice, as you'd imagine, minus 125. Edmonton Oilers plus 105. You could do worse than the Oilers at plus money tonight. And the Ottawa Senators on the road to take on the Leafs, try to stave off elimination. Playoff time is the only time we use the word stave, by the way, is plus 150. The Toronto Maple Leafs are minus 180 favorites tonight on home ice to put away the Ottawa Senators.
I'm not saying they're not going to win, but I am saying don't make that bet. Like
That's-
that you're not. It's a lot of juice to pay for
Yeah.
a team that struggles putting teams away.
Anyways, that was game time presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus, Ontario only. Please play responsibly.
Nice job, Sammy.
Thanks, bud.
Okay, when we're going to take a quick break here, when we return, so much on our NHL news and notes, including a phone hearing for Ekblad.
Yep.
what is going on between Tampa Bay and Florida. We will take a deep dive into
election analysis,
including who's not playing for the Tampa Bay Lightning next game. Plus, for all of you in Vancouver, Sportsnet 650, Rick Tocchet will not return. We'll get a thought or two on where the Vancouver Canucks go and some of the other rumblings we're hearing around the Vancouver Canucks.
Things are rumbling?
Oh, they're rumbling.
There's rumbles. Uh-oh.
That when we return to Real Kyper and Bourne. Welcome back to the program. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, and Sam McKee. This is our national hour of the Real Kyper and Bourne show. It was announced today that Rick Tocchet will not return to the Vancouver Canucks as head coach. I'm not sure people are overly surprised when you consider the baggage that has followed the Vancouver Canucks all season long. I think Vancouver was prepared to step up. From everything I gathered, that I don't think the money was that far off, is what I was told as early as yesterday. But whatever that gap was, $750,000, $1 million, whatever it was enough for Rick Tocchet to say, no, I'm done.
And you think at the end of the day, it's money, or do you think it's, we don't like the practice facility, I don't like the working arrangement with management or owner, I don't like.
I think they're.
Yes.
I think it could all be sprinkled. It could all be sprinkled. Yeah.
Check.
I don't know if there's ever been a coach in history that turned down a job because of a practice facility.
Well, Long Island struggled for a while.
But when you mix it with everything else, yeah. And I also had heard, as far as Jimmy Rutherford's concerned, he may be contemplating his future as well.
Really?
Well, at his age right now, whether he's locked in or he's made a decision to stick with the program or, long term, he still sees himself there. Last time I heard, he may have been contemplating where his stand is moving forward in the organization.
He's been making a nice paycheck for a lot of years in the NHL. I doubt he's in desperate need of that part of it. So, and if he's not feeling supported or respected or whatever the words may be, I could see that.
So we're gonna get
now what?
We're gonna get Tocchet back as an analyst. He's not gonna take another job, right? There's no good job openings.
No, I don't think any original six teams.
Oh, is it Boston? Is there Philly? Is there the Rangers? The Blackhawks?
Oh my God.
There's some juicy jobs out there right now.
And it's a great time to be a UFA coach that people respect and covet.
Really good time.
If we think about guys that are walking away from sure jobs like Sullivan in Pittsburgh or Tocchet in Vancouver, I got to think that they have some idea of what's out there or who's interested. So with Tocchet, the link is the Philadelphia Flyers. With Sullivan, it's the New York Rangers and the Boston Bruins. I got to think for Sullivan, if it's just strictly about who's going to step up and pay the most, I could see the Rangers setting a new bar for head coaches in the vicinity of $7-8 million a year for a head coach.
That's nice.
Yeah, I don't. Knowing the Rangers the way they operate, I don't know if they'd blink at that number.
I mean, he's an awesome candidate. Like, it's just multiple time. He was coaching a crappy team in Pittsburgh, butting heads a little bit with Dubas. He was the coach of USA. He's like the quintessential American coach, being the coach of the quintessential American franchise. It makes a ton of sense.
I don't like the direction of their roster.
No, me neither.
But how do you turn down
the Rangers,
the most money, and the New York Rangers?
Just to go back to Vancouver for a second, like you want to talk about fork in the road here. Now, if Tocchet's gone and Tocchet's a Jimmy Rutherford guy and he brought him over from Pittsburgh, where does Jimmy go from here? Where does eventually Quinn Hughes go from here? This is Quinn Hughes like Rick Tocchet. I don't think there was any debate about that. Like, where is this organization heading in the next few years?
Maybe we should have talked Vancouver.
They were a game away from the conference final last year and have since lost the coach. They lost JT Miller. They're going to lose Brock Besser. Elias Pettersson's a different human. talking about their president. Who knows what is going on? Demko's injury situation strange. Hughes talk now. Boy, what a year.
Quite a year.
You know?
It happens fast out there, I guess.
That was a disaster calendar year.
Yeah, it's tough to do worse, really.
Okay.
Sorry, guys in Vancouver.
Sorry, we didn't do it.
Hope the sun's shining there at least today.
Messengers. Just the messengers.
Busy night for you last night on the network as you covered the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Florida Panthers in their early game, which saw a couple of hits.
Yeah.
Including a one that brought Aaron Ekblad back to NHL discipline.
Yeah.
A hearing, I believe.
Look at that forearm to the jaw.
I'm not sure if the hearing just happened or is about to, but there's a real sense that he'll be lost next game.
Ekblad, yeah.
I would hope.
John Cooper, perhaps his best coaching moment, whether how the game went or not, the passion he showed justifiably and frustration of his player, and then they go out and score two. I don't think I've ever seen
he was fired up.
Egg-headed lawyer type guy.
He was fired up.
Look like that.
Yeah, without the Chernak goal to make it 2-1, they flashed over the bench, and he was fist pumping.
That's
like
how you do it.
Run
Yeah.
up and down the bench. I love seeing that from him.
So I want to get your thoughts on this because as I pulled into work today, I did hear that the Tampa Bay Lightning made it public that Hagel will not be available next game.
And Cooper said, and you know why.
Do we have sound at all?
We have the sound from him last night.
Okay, get that sound last night. We'll pick it up on Hagel not playing.
We don't have it.
Oh, we don't have it. Okay.
Either way, he just said, why are you asking me about it? If you're asking me, there's a reason. What do you think of it?
So as I heard the news that Tampa Bay announced Hagel not playing next game, my first thought was, okay, when was the last time that happened?
Well, of course it's for suspension purposes.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. That's our guy's injured, just so you know, and that factors into suspensions. So,
suspend him.
90-point guy, Selke nominee.
Is it going to work?
I would hope. These Panthers, man. Like, if he skirts the law on this one,
so
we got
hold
a
on,
real,
though.
like Gary's favorite team, it's a real narrative. Like,
Yeah.
Mikula should have got a game, too. I know he got kicked out of that one, but that was rotten.
No, you say no?
No, I don't think so.
Me neither.
He got 5 in a major, kicked out of that game.
Yeah, I know. He was a little
He was
along
forceful
the
enough.
boards and
Oh, yeah, he just drove his face into the
Yeah,
bench.
And he got heavily penalized for it.
it happens.
Penalized more.
Is that the announcement? Will that take it to 2 games? Will it take it to 3 games?
I think it can be 2 games for sure. I know with suspensions, like they won't use the PED thing in relation to this, I don't think, or will they? Like, does that issue affect the recent suspension history?
No,
I don't. Yeah, you don't think so?
No, they don't cross over.
But you know what I think hurts him is just he took a big run at Hagel earlier in the game at a really bad spot.
Everybody's running everybody.
Well, sure, make that claim, but this is the guy who hurt one of their guys that he took a run at earlier, missed him. Then he sees the same guy later and delivers a pretty direct. Remind me of the Bennett on Marchand whoopsie punch.
I guess I'd have to follow up extensively on the Hagel injury, but my first thought was a game.
A game.
A game.
I thought so too.
That's minimum for me. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, a game.
It depends on Hagel, though, because you're right. If Hagel can't play the rest of the series, how do you have Ekblad come back?
It's really when I went back to Hagel's hit on Barkov. And if you knew for sure, if Barkov finished the game or you knew for sure he's just playing the next game, maybe you could get away with a $5,000 fine. But you don't know. And I do think in that instance, it plays a big part if a guy's available to come back or not.
It's crazy that none of the officials made a call on the ice. And I know the ref who looks like he's looking at it. There's someone crossing through his view.
If you don't have the right angle, it looked like a shoulder.
It does. And I think the example of Bennett, like the 63 there and 11 right in front of him. Sammy, it's true. You can't see through bodies.
No.
We don't know what he's seeing here. In fact, his head's not even looking at that.
And it's a forearm to the neck that catches the head too. It's just not principal point of contact. You're not picking the head off there.
There are three other guys
you
on
didn't
the
see
ice.
him going like this towards the ice with his arm extended, looking right at him.
I don't think he saw that and chose not to call it. I don't.
But that type of punch happens 10 or 15 times.
I hate that.
It's just not at your head.
BS.
It's in your shoulder. It's in your ribs.
Okay.
It's everywhere.
Okay.
That play is everywhere.
Yeah, you finish your check. That's a natural.
Yes.
You're pushing yourself into the
So
head.
it's just one that caught the neck and the head.
I'm sorry, because I've seen in my mentions 2 or 3 times today that happens, 3 times a game.
Yeah,
No, it doesn't.
Mostly
No,
in
it
Florida,
doesn't.
mostly in Florida
Not
Panthers
in the
games.
area that we're describing.
Yeah.
That's where it happens
But
the
the
most.
action of going to finish a check is shoulder,
Well,
arm.
you're pushing yourself
right?
into
You're coming through with your forearm 1,000 times.
which is why he's able to sell that little
You know what you're
UFC
selling?
finish.
You're selling it's a hockey play that went bad.
Yeah.
That's what you're selling. 1 game suspension.
Yeah, okay.
At the most, with Hagel announced that he's not going to be in, I can live with a 1
The
game.
other thing, my original tweet about it was people being like, inconsistency in the series, whatever. And to me, you got 1 missed call in the series. They missed it on the ice. The guy made him pay. If you're the officials watching Ekblad score, okay, tough.
But I don't think. But to me, that's fine because you're not kicking him out of the game for that.
What do you mean?
I don't in the game. I think if you're
Kick
calling
him out
that,
of the game for that.
I thought it would have been a 2-minute elbow, and then you look at it after. I didn't think that. I would have.
But Sammy, they didn't see any of it. They were either blocked off or they just didn't
if
see it.
they see
And
it,
it's not review. You can't watch it on a video.
But if you see it and they do to go up and look at it,
So you're supposed to guess that it was an elbow?
No, Kyper. Because when they call it now,
Give it a 5.
They can give it a 5. And they review
But
it like
they're
they did
guessing it's a 5.
No, I'm saying in the world, Kyper,
Yeah.
that they see it, that the ref that's looking right at it in that video sees
you're
it.
hypothetical.
Yes, I'm going hypothetical.
Okay.
If they
Sure.
if they see it,
Sure.
they call it a 5 and they review it.
And they bring it down.
Do you think they're going to keep that as a 5?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced. But
Fair enough.
whatever.
Other stuff.
Hypothetical world.
Hold on.
Oh.
Let's
All
just
right.
dive in a little deeper
The
here.
Florida Panthers are so dirty.
I love that there's rats on the
so
ice after
dirty.
their games.
They
It's so
are
fitting.
A dirty.
How does Tampa Bay blow that?
Brutal.
Oh.
Okay.
Brutal.
Sammy,
Oh, you know what?
you-
Vasilevsky's
you-
having some playoff moments.
you saw. Buddy, I'm telling you.
Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yeah.
That's who he is. He's Marc-Andre Fleury.
No, he's not.
Well, he's-
Marc-Andre Fleury could take it into 36, 37, 38 years of age.
No, but Marc-Andre Fleury had 5 playoff years where he was a
I
dog.
know, but
Really bad.
Vasilevsky to me is starting. I'm starting to see a little. He's only 30 years old.
But he's up for the Vezina. He had an unbelievable season.
I know, but
He's not the same guy.
he's not the same guy.
The fear
The
factor
numbers
is gone.
say he is.
The fear factor's gone. That's the difference.
Mhm.
Where in the years where he was unbelievable, guys had no belief that they could score on him.
I'm starting to get a theory now that big goalies like this, and it's to what Valley said earlier. They're up and down, up and down, up and down. Eventually, I think it catches up on the bigger goalies.
We need data on this.
Right?
People.
I just that goal that Seth
Brutal.
Jones scored last night. Not on his worst.
Well, look
day.
at Maurice pull himself together. He's like, oh, shouldn't have
Not
celebrated.
even on his worst day. A few years ago, would we have seen that go in on him?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, by the way, they canceled the All-Star game.
They canceled the All-Star game, people. Do you hear this?
Yeah.
The New York Islanders.
They can't.
What are they going to do?
They're doing according to Newsday, who spoke with the NHL commissioner, they will not be hosting a 2026 All-Star game at UBS. It'll be a 2026 Olympic kickoff event instead.
Can they still fill the building? What are the owners supposed to do? You promised us the game.
Lovely job today, boys.
No game.
Great job on the news and notes. As a reminder, this hour, Real Kyper and Bourne, brought to you by Bet365. Thanks
you,
to them.
Bet365.
Enjoy your night, everybody. Big night in the National Hockey League. And we're going to do it all tomorrow on the Real Kyper and Bourne Show.
Please win, Leafs.